Hi there. On today's episode, we figure out what's real and what's a hallucination as we review Smile 2.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Eddie. This is straight to BLD. Well, welcome back. It is spooky season officially. Um, I feel like spooky season is not immediately starting in October, but I feel like it starts in the middle and then it lingers just a tad bit after November starts. It gives you a good round feeling before the nice fuzziness comes around. But we're in it. We're in deep. With that, there are other movies that are out that some of us went to go see. And we're just gonna give you a quick rundown, a little bit of our thoughts, and you know, more so for the movies that we don't give a whole episode to. Um, For one, Piece by Piece came out. Piece by Piece was a movie of the story of Pharrell and how he got into the music industry, and pretty much a biop. Is that what it's called? Biopsy? No, biopsy,
Biopic.
biopic. But the twist here is that they're all Legos for some effing reason. I think the appeal of it being a Lego movie is what more, if anything, intrigued me more, as opposed to the movie about Pharrell. If this was a movie about a Lego, I probably wouldn't go seen it. Um, but did you all see the Piece by Piece movie?
Yep, I was right next to you.
Ha,
Uh
they don't know
um
that. So you could just
yeah, again, I think same as you. If there was like a random movie about Pharrell featuring Pharrell, like live action, I wouldn't have necessarily cared. Just because I like Pharrell, shout out to you, bro. But I'm not like a super huge fan. And I think that yeah, again, the Lego part was, I thought it was done well. I thought the movie looked super nice and clean, and I thought it did a good job for about his, depicting his life, and it was just fun. It was just a fun movie. I think they did all the kind of the beat stuff was pretty, how they like express beats and stuff like that was pretty cool. And yeah, now I know a lot more about Pharrell than I ever thought I would know. Honestly, it's
I
pretty
haven't
cool.
I haven't seen this one, but I'm curious if this wasn't a Lego movie, would it still be interesting? Like if it
I
was the story, would it have the appeal? Because
I
I
don't
mean, even
know.
like something like Rocket Man that had like the fantastical elements, like does that have something like that, or is it just like a Lego paint like coating on this biopic?
No, there's fantastical elements, and I feel like
Okay.
he wanted it in the movie. He says like, "Hey, yeah, I'm down to do a movie about my life, but let's do it in Lego." And the guy interviewing him was like, "Really, Lego? Why?" And he's like, "Well, I feel like he can express more things through Lego or the Lego universe than he can just like by it just being like two humans, sitting on a couch or whatever."
All right.
And
I appreciate that.
yeah,
It's
so that
better
was
than Robbie Williams documentary biopic on where he's just a monkey for no reason.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't know that. That could be good or it could not be good.
It's not good.
So yeah.
yeah. It would just had. I mean, because it's able to give it that animated feel. Um, Even if the film wasn't Lego, if it was animated just as it is, probably would still have made the same effect. Maybe he had a partnership deal or just an opportunity based on the movie content. It feels like it's something that Pharrell was like, I can also do this. Let me give this type of shot. And I was like, okay, sure.
I think they
We'll
made
do
like
the
an
Legos.
official set that ties
No,
into the movie as
I
well.
would
They
not.
can
I
buy.
would not. I would not. I would have put it past him. Um,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
shout out to
definitely go.
Pharrell.
Yeah, shout out to
He's got a
Pharrell.
bunch of hits too. Like you just
Yeah,
like his
Mhm.
work is depicted all throughout the movie, and you're just
yeah.
and it's great, except for the Happy song. Like I know Happy was like a you know super
The
popular
happy
song, but
song.
I cannot stand that song.
Maybe
I mean,
maybe
it's
you're just not
maybe because
happy.
it's
Charlie
overplayed
just is
a
not
lot,
happy.
or that.
Well,
That's
I
probably
don't
it.
like the wedding song that gets overplayed, but maybe when I get married, that'll be the song that we dance
Which
to. I
wedding
don't know.
song?
The John Legend song.
Is there a John Legend Lego movie?
No, I just
Not
don't like the
yet.
song. The same way you feel about the happy song is the way I say feel about the wedding song. But that's neither here or there. Other movie Saturday Night, which is a movie that depicts the first opening night of Saturday Night Live. The pitfalls and I guess the backstory of how it came to be, and the ins and outs of what it took for it to actually be on air and what it took to survive, and the story along that. So I think Chris and Charlie, you both watched this movie.
I did not.
I did.
Oh,
It was
Charlie.
pretty
Oh, okay.
good. Everyone should like go check it out if they have a chance to. Um, and yeah, and if you've seen the trailer, it's chaotic, and the movie just kind of carries that theme throughout the whole movie. So it's a lot of fun too. Um, watching it, it's kind of like a there's not comedic elements, but there's funny shit that happens that like the whole theater like kind of laughs and joins in. So it was a good time overall. Um, as crazy as the trailer makes it out to be. So, and it has a happy ending, obviously, and you get to see some of the older dudes from SNL get depicted um, by obviously by different actors, but like Chevy Chase gets is depicted. Um, uh, what's his name? Oh my God, James Belushi, not James Belushi, John Belushi. My bad. John Belushi's in it. Dan Aykroyd and some other people that are in it that are kind of like older generation SNL. But you get to see them in there, and yeah, it was pretty good overall.
Nice, nice.
Is it
Uh-huh.
is it just the first night or like before the first showing, or is there more
It's literally just
of
it's just about
okay,
the first episode. Yep.
gotcha.
All the setup just for the first episode.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yep.
So it just kind of goes into it like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Nice, nice. Um, and lastly, they're continuing with the spookiness. Um, I'm not sure. How did we decide not to do this one? I guess there wasn't enough interest among ourselves, or not a big fan of.
I don't think Charlie or I watched
I
other
didn't watch
ones.
this.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
just heard
lastly,
there
there's
was a
a
lot of hype around it.
Terrifier 3 is out. I went to go watch it. Um, and it lived up to what the first two were. Um, there was a non-rating for this movie. I don't know. I guess they changed it now, so it's a rated R film.
No, it's not rated
Honestly,
R.
it's not.
It's not rated
Honestly,
R.
this should be
It's
like
not
a
rated.
NC. This should be like an NC-17 or like a I don't know whatever up is above that.
I
It's
think not
very
rated
very.
is above that.
Is it? I didn't
Yeah.
think unrated films were allowed in the movie theater.
Well, it is like a
Um,
limited kind of thing.
this
And
movie's wild. This movie's wild. Um,
so I went to the theater last week to see Smile, and I saw like a blackboard, like someone wrote, this movie is super gory and not rated, and also you might throw up. Like, is that just marketing? The
No,
you will it's
no,
so gross you'll throw up, or is it
no.
actually?
This movie made me queasy, and I am one to like be okay with what's going on screen because I could, you know, detach very easily from the movie, right? And not that you couldn't do that now, but it's just so in your face and it's constant. There's one thing that, like for example, Saw. Saw got as much as it was like a thriller and but it got more bloody as the movies continued and it, part of the story for that movie and that franchise was to figure out exactly how these, deaths were going to partake. So it required
Hmm.
a little bit of, um, mechanical thought processes. I would say, I guess, if we're putting it was a little bit more demure. It was a little bit more of art of how these people died from a film perspective. But with Terrifier, even from one, two, and now three, a majority of the film is just these murders that are happening, and they have nothing to do with the actual storyline, other than the fact that this killer clown is killing people in the most just disgusting way, and it continues. It isn't like one and done type thing. It continues, and again, and it's part of the comical side of it that I say is like if that were to actually happen, they would be dead on the first try. They would not continue to try to run away because they'd be dead. But these type of this the Terrifier movies prolong these deaths to a point where it's just very very just over the top and just gruesome. But they're all practical effects. They're all practical effects, which is I could applaud the movie makers and the people who are doing it. But some of these things, man, some of these things are just disgusting. Nobody walked out on any of the film, but there were a lot of people. The movie theater was strangely packed to a point where I couldn't find my seat, so I had to sit whatever was available. But the movie wasn't sold out. And because I arrived, fairly late, not a lot late, but like the movie was starting, I was just like, I'm just gonna sit wherever's available because I'm just gonna sit down. Um, but it was packed a lot. It seemed like a lot of people were just showing up because that movie was not sold out. Um, but again, the movie is very long, but a lot of the a lot of the story itself is developing, which I guess I started getting into the lore of it, and I could see where it's going. But the majority of these movies for the runtime and for what's actually in the movies have nothing to do with the actual storyline or the plot. It really like I looked at my watch. It was like 25 minutes in, almost 30 minutes in. I was like, I don't know what the purpose of this movie is yet. I have seen like four or five gruesome deaths, the setups for the deaths, and then immediately another death. I was like, and I have no idea what the hell's going on other than the fact that it's continuing from part two. That's it. From the beginning of the movie to like midway, like, that was just death. It's just death and blood and gore and screams. It's just like, it's just a lot. And they put it in
Isn't
your
that just
face.
those movies though?
Yeah, that's what I mean. And for what the movies are, that's fine. It is what it is. But I've seen, like I said, I've seen gory films before, and the closest I could get, like I guess, in what would be a movie theater, if it's not like a B-rated film or like one of those films that you would get like at a video rental store. That was like, oh, have you seen this film? It's like, and it has a following, even though it wasn't like a major marketing film. Is Saw, but
Hmm.
I mean, it feels like a PG rated movie compared to compare Saw feels like a PG rated movie compared to like this Terrifier thing, and it isn't necessarily scary per se. It's just like I said, it's very gruesome. It's very aggressive. Um, I mean, there's a scene that I imagine it's made to be funny. Um, but everybody in the movie theater felt just like you could hear the groans and the like the
Give us an
people moving away.
example.
It involved
I don't think
it
I'm gonna
involved
see
the
this
sexual
movie.
it involved the
I'm gonna.
sexual it involved the sexual act,
Yeah.
but
Ugh.
with a very
Mm.
sharp or a very very sharp object. Um, but it was self-inflicted. Um, and it
Mm.
went on for longer than it should have. And I mean, they show it, and it felt very queasy. I was just like, I get that it's supposed, like, I like a chuckle because I was like, man, this is some like scary movie, like the comic movie, scary movie 1, 2, and 3, ish. But it was just like, it's just, you could tell everybody was uneasy in the movie theater, and for not just that, for just generally like a lot of these scenes. Um,
Are
but
these
again, mhm.
are these good movies? Like I said, I don't
I
the
don't.
appeal is the shock factor the appeal to these movies? Like
I
what
think the
is
shock factor is the appeal to this. And again,
but after three
um,
movies, is the shock factor like wearing off a
I
bit? Like
no,
I just
no,
don't
I didn't think they would be able to
they
top the
keep
second
upping the
one,
ante.
and they keep
Uh,
upping the ante. At
all
least
right.
personally, I can say the first one, I was like, oh, scary movie, gave it a shot, cool. The second one went so above, I was like, holy cripes, I don't know if I'm going to be able to like follow that up. And I thought they would try to move away from that, maybe develop the story because part two is where the story kind of starts becoming the actual story. So like,
Hmm.
oh, maybe we'll explore a little bit more. But nope, they just straight upped it even higher. And I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't think they could go lower or I guess higher in this case. I was like, nope, there it is. There it is. But it is shock. It's just the shock value. Like I said, the story is in itself is developing. I just wish they focused more on the actual story. But there is no hold barred when it comes to who gets killed and how they get killed. Especially in this kind of climate, I'm surprised there isn't more outrage or cancellation. Because there's one particular scene that I was like, this movie's gonna get canceled because I don't think you could do that right now. Well, I mean, let alone just as is, but right now especially. But I haven't heard any backlash. I haven't seen any negatives to so um it's fucked up. But I mean you don't need to watch the first two. You could just go watch this one and just get the idea of what's going on. Um because
I watched the first one because I'm like, oh, okay, Terrifier 3 is getting all this like attention or whatever. And I don't think it's for me. The first one was pretty bad.
it's
I heard
I
the
mean, the
first
movie
one's not
itself
even
was
that good
bad.
compared to the
Yeah,
other ones.
the movie itself was bad. The gore was gory. So it does not like inspire me to watch the second or third one. But, I'm already on the train. Why not take it all the way? You
You
know?
could just stop. It's fine to stop.
No, you have to watch everything. Um, no, you have to. I mean, the second one. I saw the trailer for the second one. It looks like they actually had some money behind it. So it's
I did hear the second one is a lot better than the
yeah,
first.
yeah. I just find it funny that like the theaters, from what you posted, Chris, the theaters were treating this as if it was an R-rated film and turning away like a bunch of teenagers, 17 and under. In the same weekend, the Wild Robot saw like a noticeable like bump, right? And they were just speculating that like, I feel like nothing's changed. Just teenagers buying a movie they can go see to go watch a movie they can't go see. So, um, that was that's pretty funny. I mean, surrounding this movie.
mm,
But
Okay.
good on you, Eddie, for taking a bullet for the rest of us.
I honestly I didn't feel like walking out, but honestly throughout the film I just went on my phone and seeing what was going on because I was like, when are we gonna get to the story? But other times I was just like, I don't wanna watch.
Were you eating nachos or
I
popcorn or
didn't.
anything?
I didn't buy anything. I didn't do any I didn't even get a drink. I was just sitting down
Did you
in
eat right
my I
beforehand?
did not. I was just like, I'm just gonna go like watch this because I watched the first two and I watched like the YouTube whatever. So I'm like, all right, I'm in this. Hopefully this becomes a little clearer, but No, it was just like I was like I could smell this movie. It was just like disgusting. So yeah, yeah, I would walk away. I was like, I don't. But it had all its tropes, right? It had teenagers, or it's like, I'll be right back. Don't say that. It had, oh, they're gonna have sex, so that means you're gonna die, and like, oh, you're going down the road by yourself. The car turns off. All of the tropes are there. It's just the actual like it's not even scary. It's just like absolutely just like holy crap. But shout out to the guy. I mean, it's doing better than Joker. It's funny, right? It's funny that this would be doing a lot better than Joker.
I
Yeah,
think
true.
Um,
The Joker 2 is actually heading to streaming. Um,
okay.
I think like
next weekend,
it's only been like a month,
Oh my
maybe
less
less
than a
than a
month.
month. Yeah, less than a month.
Okay. Well, great
So
job, HBO. Yeah. But if I had to pick, strangely enough, I would still recommend you go see Terrifier 3 over Joker. Uh, as long as you could stomach it, and it's not like a bad film type of stomach it. It's like holy, I just a lot of times I thought I could be like a doctor or a nurse. I'm like, nope, that is a lot of blood. I just nope. Mm-mm. Intestines, genitals, just
does he still
everywhere.
does he still not make any noise in the
No,
first
no,
one?
he's still mute, and the uh, that towards the end of the film they explain a little bit more. But the problem, I guess, what it is, and I guess it is what it is for the film. The same thing with part two. You start getting a little bit more towards the end, but then it just kind of leaves you like, okay, this is what I wanted the entire movie. Now I have to wait another movie that I have to sit through just to get a little bit more context and a little understanding of like the whole story. Um, yeah, that's part of it is because it's weird when they're clearly in pain, but you don't hear anything. It's a weird it's a weird feeling that you would have in a movie theater that's loud with sound and everything. And then when it comes to like him and something happens to him, he's clearly in pain screaming. There's no sound. Like it becomes silent. It's weird. It's a weird, it's like it puts you in a weird feeling. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I felt queasy the entire time, but I made it through. And you know, again, go see this one over Joker. So but with all that said, we're gonna move on to our main feature, our feature presentation. Here is Smile 2. That is also a sequel to Smile, just one. Chris, you want to tell us about it?
I'm good.
Oh, Charlie, you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, yeah, I can tell you about it. Finally, a sequel we can smile about. Um, so we're about to embark on a world tour. Global pop sensation Sky Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and the pressure of fame, Sky is forced to face her past. This was directed by Parker Finn, who did Smile 1, and features Naomi Scott, who plays Sky Riley, Rosemary DeWitt, who plays Elizabeth Riley, and Lucas Gage, who plays uh Louis Fergoli.
Thanks. Um, all right. Smile 2. Spoiler-free thoughts. Chris, give it to us.
I had a blast with this movie. This movie is a lot of fun, and they really upped the gore and like horror elements compared to the first one, which I feel like we all like, despite it being kind of similar to other movies we've seen. Yeah, and I saw this in Dolby, and they really all the music and the sound effects, they were just like it was probably like the best Dolby experience I had in a long time. But yeah, they really like pumped through the seats, the sound and stuff. So super good. And the ending is interesting. I'm curious to see where that goes. We can talk about that in spoilers, but like they're already talking about doing a sequel and spin-offs for this series, so we'll definitely be getting one, especially it's doing well. So, what about you, Eddie?
Yeah, I had fun with this movie as well. Towards the end, uh, I was like, oh, I was trying to recall everything. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to see this again now. Before the actual end. Like, there are several twists and turns in this movie, and in one in particular, one I was like, oh, damn it, I should have paid attention more. Um, but it
What else
was
were
it
you doing?
was. I mean, I wasn't paying attention to like the subtleties, kind
Yeah,
of like
no, I get
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
yeah, kind of like what is it, Shutter Island and like Inception, all those. I'm like, oh, if you rewatch it, there are all the clues are right there.
I called Shutter Island,
You
but
called
yeah.
Shutter Island. You know what I didn't call, but I liked was Book of Eli. That was a good one. Uh, but when you go back and watch those type of movies, you could see like you could catch the little you know tidbits. It's like Anyway, yeah, the ending. My co-hosts don't believe me, but I called this. I'm saying I called it. I know I called it.
Wait, you said
Uh,
you didn't get the twist and then you called it? How'd you call
no,
it? Did
the
not
very end of the movie. The very end of the movie. No. The very end of the movie isn't a twist to me. It was just like obviously the twists that lead up to the end of the movie. I was like,
Obviously. So
so
yeah. No,
so
obvious.
I
you
called
didn't
it.
get
All
the
right,
twist, but
I get.
you
No,
called how
I
it
got the twist. No, I got the twist. I just like
what?
surprised by some of the twists. By
What?
one particular twist that I was like, oh, I
You know,
gotta.
we'll get into spoilers, okay?
What the
Yeah,
twist?
I'll explain myself very, very in detail. But I
Yeah.
call this because I was like, okay, this is what I actually said. I hope that's not what it's going to be, but it ended up being that.
Charlie, you were there, right? Did you?
Yeah,
I wasn't, no, we didn't
Oh,
watch it.
no.
we need like evidence. Like you need to text us.
But it was fine. The acting was was there. Um, it had its moments. But yeah. There was something in particular that I wanted to also say. Uh, twist at the end. It's just, I guess I'm coming up, but very enjoyable. I liked it, and we'll get into more details and spoilers. But Charlie, what about you?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I liked it a lot. Um, I got caught um by the twist ending, very much like I should have seen it coming just because but like I was lost, you know, lost in the plot or lost in the sauce, as you would say.
Well, I feel
No, but
like
it was a
even
lot
the
of
first movie, like
yeah,
we haven't seen it do that, you know?
yeah.
No, no.
I'm glad they I watched the first one again
Hmm.
in um in preparation for the second one. And I'm glad they kind of doubled the gore, maybe like two and a half, three times the gore. Um, because the first one didn't. It had some of it, but not too much. And if they would have kept the same kind of amount, I don't think it would have hit as hard. But I'm glad they didn't turn up all the way, like in Saw, because if you have if you see the difference between Saw 1 and Saw 2, the gore
Yeah.
is like times 10 and it kind of takes over the whole
Yeah.
movie,
Mm-hmm.
kind of ruins it, kind of ruins the psychological trauma of like, let's play a game, right? But this was about the smiling, still about, Smile 1 was about the smiling, Smile 2, still about the smiling. Um, but the gore elements were there enough to, you know, make you wince and make you like kind of there were a couple of jump scares in this that were like, oh, okay, messed up. There was also a couple other elements um that were more um psychological. So like they also like it wasn't just they doubled the gore and that's it, but they doubled the gore and they doubled like kind of psychological trauma of like I don't know of a movie. Uh, and if you've seen Smile One, um, yeah, like if you've seen Smile One and you liked it, then like Smile Two is just that, but just like times three. I also want to give a shout out to the the short film that started this whole thing was actually um a short film in 2020 called Laura Hasn't Slept. It's like an
Yeah,
11, it's on
yeah.
YouTube. It's
Hmm.
11 minutes long. Look it up. And it's pretty great and kind of started this whole thing. So shout out to that. Shout out to that short film. Um also what else is there that I know about this film? I looked into this film a lot because that's how much I liked it. But SkyRileyMusic.com. Sky Riley actually are like Naomi Scott. Actually, they actually there's actual songs
She has
you can actually
Spotify.
listen to. Yeah, she's like on Spotify and all major platforms. But you can actually listen to the songs that were part of in the movie. So that's I mean that's pretty cool part about it.
That actually leads to a question I have. Would you rather go to a Sky Riley concert or a Lady Raven concert from Trap?
I thought about it. I'm like, where's the trap smile crossover?
The world tour, they go together.
Um, Ray Nicholson was in this movie, Jack Nicholson's son. Um,
That's why
he
he
was
looked so familiar. I was like, I
yeah,
know this guy from somewhere.
yeah, he was the guy like who stood up at the banquet and like started
Yeah, he's
smiling
like
at
on
them.
all the posters too.
Yeah, and walking on stage.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's a fun fact. And yeah, it was good overall. But we can talk about the twists and turns in the spoiler section.
Mm-hmm. All right. Um, thanks everyone for spoiler-free thoughts. Anything else that we missed? Or anything that you want to say before we get into spoilers? Um, all right. Well, spoiler section coming up. So for me, I guess I changed my opinion towards the end of this my opinion towards the end of this movie when that twist happened. Uh,
Wait, what twist are you talking about?
so what I like about this film is that like as Charlie said, it the first one smiled and the second one smiled, so it was indeed about the smile. But these films are very different. They're it's, how it's the perspective of the demon, what's going on through the host's mind, and things like that. So in this one, um, in the first one, they very much see that it takes over you and it can play tricks on you and mind tricks on you, um, but that the things are actually happening in real life. Um, but the second one is more so a hallucination, and it does a good job, in my opinion, of like, oh, the first one you don't know what's real, what's not, but eventually they tell you immediately, oh, this was real, this wasn't real, this is what's happening. Um, but throughout the film, in this second one, it's clearly showing that a lot of this is not happening. So the longer gaps in this movie is clearly like it's playing in your head, and you don't know what's real, what's not, what's going on. So it's a longer inception, if you will, of like what's going on or not. So before the movie ended, I was like, oh, I really wish they would have played more into that, more into like what's real and what's not type of thing, until the actual twist of like all this. I can't even tell. Like at the end of it, toward the end of the movie, she comes out on stage and is like, "This is all fake." I was like, "Was it all fake? How far back do we need to go before we realize what's
It's
actually
like
happened and
the
what
last act of
hasn't
the
happened?"
movie is all fake, right?
Is it?
Because her mom is
Because
alive, and a lot of that stuff happened after that
yeah,
part.
but remember that
So all that,
her friend was driving, but it turns out her friend didn't even answer her phone call from the beginning of the movie.
yeah.
So like how far back are we going? Because and I that's where I was saying like that twist got me where I had to rewatch it because when she spent over the first night, her mom didn't acknowledge the fact that like in the in before that interaction, she's like, why don't you just call her? People will get over it. Like we don't really get context as to why she hasn't talked to her best friend. But then her best friend comes over and stays over, and she's just like super like chill or whatever. And then they wake up late, and then the mom comes out and she's like, "We're late. We got to doing," and then just like completely doesn't acknowledge. Granted, they're like friended, but doesn't acknowledge that their best friend is there, and they just argue. And the friend tries to interact with the mom, was like, "Hey, Mrs. Whatever." Well, like, but the mom clearly doesn't acknowledge like her facing her daughter, doesn't look at her, doesn't acknowledge her at all. That's why I was like, I gotta rewatch this because if her
Yeah.
friend was fake the entire time, maybe her mom didn't see it and she was only seeing what she thought was real, but it turns out it wasn't real. But then, at the end of it, it's not like, hey, sorry I haven't responded, weird text, blah blah blah. And I'm like, holy shit, that's like day two, or not even maybe day one, day two of her being like that. So does that mean that the guy who was trying to help her wasn't real either?
That's correct. He was never real.
So he was also never real.
Well, he might be real, but them meeting was probably not real. Like his
Yeah. Well,
brother
that's
probably died.
yeah. Well, this goes back to my. This is also my question: is when does the larger hallucination start? Right, where your environment and the people in that environment are fake.
Yeah, it
Because
was
that was also
definitely
yeah. I also want to rewatch this movie because if it starts from the friend, then like you're just screwed. But
No, but
like,
does it start from the friend? And
but
is it actually the
the
days?
friend was never there. So who number one, who was there? Number two, is
no one.
anything
It was the smile demon or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, but before that, she starts having small hallucinations before
Yeah.
that. So, and like the signature scene and the weird guy really creeped me out. Whoever that guy was played really well. Um, but that's what,
Wow, yeah, that was
that's what
especially in her
celebrities have
apartment
to deal
scene.
with,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's what celebrities have to deal with. It's kind of creepy and scary, but uh yeah, like so again that's where I guess like I wasn't necessarily paying attention to the lead up and it did a good job because I'm like I don't need to do it right because again we're as an audience member I would imagine that everybody's seen the first one so we're like oh some of this is fake some of this is real and within the movie sequence in itself is doing the same exact thing. It's giving you a little bit of what's going on, then it immediately takes off. So you as an audience member automatically assume, oh, obviously that was fake, but now this is real. This is real life type thing.
Yeah,
But
very
yeah,
Inception-esque.
when in
Like we were
reality
saying,
it's
like
a
her friend calls her when she's in the car with
yeah.
her fake smile friend, and then she realized that she's actually driving, and like she wakes up from that hallucination smile, whatever vision that's it that's doing, and then after that, like she wakes up again in another scene. It's like, oh, you thought you were in control? You weren't actually. I've been in
Yeah.
control the whole time.
But that's her leaving after her like murdering her mom, which she
Yeah.
thinks is real and we all think is real because that's it reminded me of the cat scene of the first
Mm-hmm.
one where it was
Yep.
like, oh, you killed a cat. We didn't see her kill the cat, but we knew something was up with the cat. And then, we actually see the cat dead and, and all of this. We see the mom lying on the floor there. Like we see her like possessed over, but then we see her like just like, oh my God, what are you doing? So I guess the aspect of this movie is that we are seeing what we didn't see in the first one. Where in the first one, if something happened or she didn't act, she forgot about it because the demon did it and we didn't see it. And the shock value was, oh, that actually happened. Like, this isn't fake, you know? But in this one, we're actually seeing the actual demon and how it actually plays in your brain and in your mind. and we're seeing it come to fruition on screen, which makes me believe to some degree is that as soon as you're cursed or whatever, you're fucked, right? Because
Well, yeah, essentially you're
well, I
screwed. I
meant
was
like
curious to see.
even if you're trying to find like a solution or anything like that, you're fucked because everything could be just like a mind trick the entire time.
Yeah, I was thinking about like the first movie, like how she was like doing a lot of research in that first movie and like trying to figure out who the other Smile members are, like passing it on kind of thing. Like, and it seemed like it wasn't really stopping her from doing that. I guess they already knew that she was screwed anyways. But I feel like she had more agency to actually get rid of it and stop the curse kind of from passing on.
Well, from the first one.
Yeah.
Well, this Smile 2 starts from right at the end of Smile 1.
Yeah, 7 days afterwards, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 days, 6 days, 7 days, whatever.
So like that guy had full autonomy in terms of like what to do or but then it just ended up unfortunate. Like it was just
But could it
unfortunate.
could it be could it also like I'm trying to see how much at some point I don't know. Like I want to say it's either one of two things. Either either the demon wants you become a host for it because it's it gets uh, into your mind and it plays stuff like that. Though I guess the weaker minded individuals are more easily manipulated because of either trauma or just lower IQ or whatever the situation is. Because
Hmm.
she was a doctor and he was a cop. Well, he was a detective. And, they seemed like they were a little bit more like I guess smarter for lack of a better term, and they were a little bit more cognitive. Like they'd be able to you know discern certain things. So maybe because they were that, the demon had a harder time trying to actually take over and do what it needed to do. Um, and because the pop star had the trauma of like driving drunk and killing her boyfriend, and she pulls out her hair and her mom pressure and all that made it easier for the demon to manipulate her. So it was a lot easier for the demon to like actually manipulate her reality. Or somehow the demon is sentient to some degree. And when like the demon got in her, is like, oh, you have followers, you have a cult like following, how any demon, right, based on the rules would want, like Satan would want, or something like that. It's like, oh, you have millions of people who worship you. I could take an advantage of this to spread as much as I can, and then I would be like an ultimate demon or something, and realize that fairly soon. So it needed to like, you know, I don't know, just play around with the host for like 7 days
I
until
wonder
it's
if
like, oh,
it's
you're going on stage, because the second question that I
hmm
have here is, was she just like on autopilot this entire week?
yeah, that's how I was like, what if it's
Like, was
like
she,
kind of like Get Out, like where is that? Like the dark place where like
yeah,
the
the sunken
subconscious
place.
is,
Yeah,
yeah, like what if it's kind of like that? Like she's seeing what the smile thing wants her to see.
right. But the whole time in reality, she just like an auto mode? Is she like conscious? Is it like Click where Adam Sandler, where he's just there and he's just responding and just saying yes and just like interacting? But her actual conscious is like playing in this whole thing. Like, I
Well, I
guess
assume
that's
the smile curse demon thing has consciousness, like it wants to spread, right? That's its whole.
yeah. But I guess my,
Well,
my
just
question with
yeah, just
consciousness is like,
use up, spread, move on, use up, move on,
yeah,
kind of
but
thing.
when regards to consciousness, what I'm asking is like because it realized that it had a pop star, not to say that it knew what pop star was or whatever it was, but because it realized that it could spread to a potentially larger, you know, group of hosts. that it intentionally manipulated because it understood that with this with with the pop with Sky Riley's position as who she was and stuff like that. Like if that
Oh, I mean,
I'm
I
tr- I'm
I
trying to
assume
just
that's what happened for sure. And
okay.
I guess like, is this gonna be like the Ring situation where if a bunch of people see like wasn't like one of the Ring movies it got spread around the internet and like a lot of people saw it at once kind of thing.
No, I guess the ring was like if the person who saw it makes a copy, then you get spared or something like that.
All
But
right.
you had to
Well,
make a copy because the copy took away
yeah.
from it was because you copied it, and as long as you didn't see the copy, then it kind of canceled itself out somehow. I don't know. It was a weird explanation.
All right, then never mind that. I was gonna say like I thought there was like one where like they like made a lot of people see it, everyone see it, but it's not.
I remember that too, but I don't think I watched that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it
like
like
so the smile curse is gonna pass on to the world, right? Like is that what it's instead of just one host, it has thousands or hundreds, how many people were in that concert venue, right?
60,000.
Yeah.
Maybe more. But then
And those
it
people,
would just run out of people. Like 60,000 to another 60,000 to another 60,000.
Well, yeah, because it needs
You
living
know,
hosts. After a while,
yeah.
it's going to die off because it needs living hosts. Now, can it transfer to animals? I don't know. Like we don't know the rhyme and reason behind this entity, but it obviously has a goal of spreading to the maximum. But like mathematically speaking, I'm pretty sure they could figure it out. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet at 7 days apiece. Pretty sure there's a timeline by the time you don't have enough people anymore. Um, so that doesn't seem like a fairly good game plan. Um,
unless we
Yeah.
don't really
I mean,
know
if you're
what
trying
its
to
goal is.
maximize
Well,
like damage, then yeah, sure.
yeah. If that's its goal, then yes, then it's doing well after this.
Yeah.
I'm
Also,
kind of
were you guys underwhelmed by her death?
Underwhelmed?
Yeah, like her gory death.
No, no.
Like the last one contained
fire, right?
fire and straight like glass into the neck.
Hmm.
And then this one contained the guy smashing himself with like a
A
50
plate?
pound yeah,
Yeah.
a plate.
Yeah.
Waking
Not
up.
a
Yeah.
like a gym plate. Not a eating plate.
Hmm.
Um so that was, I mean, first of all, that was rough to get through. Number one. Let's just start there.
They kept
Is the
showing him like remove the plate and smash his face again.
Yeah.
Like three times he did it.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna go for a fourth, but then it was over.
He had enough.
Yeah, it was over. Um, Second of all, and so by the end, um, I was like, what are you gonna like? What's so? I mean, smashing yourself with the microphone is rough. It's not that rough, is it? Like, I don't know. I was just like, really? That's it? You're just gonna okay, sure.
Hmm.
I
That's
mean,
it,
she's
I
on
guess.
stage with
Yeah.
nothing. She didn't have anything with her,
We
you
had a
know?
mic.
Yeah, that's all she had.
Yeah. At that point, I would have thrown myself off stage, beaten the thing. I would have been dead, but I would have
How
beaten it.
how 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 big do you think the stage is to the ground? I don't think it's that big.
I would have done something.
Yeah.
I would have done in this situation. I would win. I would win.
It literally won. It doesn't matter how it wins. It just wins.
But I
Uh,
think I was trying to backtrack it, and I was like, okay, if at the hospital, if at the hospital she's just sitting, or maybe in the apartment. No, maybe in the apartment. Can we talk about the apartment where all those people were just kind of like in her closet and then just like walking? closer and closer together to
Whenever she looked away,
yeah,
they
and
would
then they were
be
just like
closer.
yeah,
Yep.
and then they were like not only walking closer to her, but also like on the walls and
Hmm.
like just surrounding her. Maybe that was her at practice, that day of. And then she goes
Mm.
through this whole like, we gotta go to Staten Island thing, and that's her getting ready. And then finally, the climax of the movie where it's like, oh, I'm in control. You're not in control. I'm in control. She's finally like in the little pod that takes her to her first, you know, takes her off stage or whatever.
I guess that
I
I don't
mean,
know.
that's how I backtracked it.
well, I guess is it important, I guess, for not necessarily for the I guess the bits and pieces of like how this operates, but more so for the benefit of the movie. Do we really need to know, or is this something that we are just asking to want to know because that twist is so big and because it's just like, oh, that we naturally are like, wait a minute, this only works. The twist is fine, but it has to work, and I guess that's why we're trying to understand this. Or can we dismiss that and just like does it take away from the movie if we can't piece this together?
I don't think it takes away from the movie. I'm
Yeah.
perfectly fine sitting at home and being ignorant to how it actually works, right? Because it's still like, I mean, it's still pretty at a pretty impactful twist and turn, um, which, but you know, for us specifically, the three of us, I feel like it's I guess that's the point of the podcast, right? Let's break it down. Let's figure it out. There's got to be some, and it's a scary movie, right? There's got to be some kind of logic, um, not logic. There's got to be some kind of rhyme and reason, especially since most typical scary movies, it's like, oh, the demon has one weakness. It's friendship. So you gotta, face your fears and hold hands or whatever the case may be. In this case, it's like you gotta,
You gotta.
we're gonna clinically kill you and then we're gonna bring you back. Which by all means, um, makes sense. I'm glad that happened.
But it
And
didn't happen.
but it didn't happen.
We didn't even get
Um,
to see if
yeah.
that works, that
But that
theory
was the
works.
moment. But that was the moment I was like, yeah, cool, finally. Because I was starting to, I was, and which is great for the movie. I was starting to get disappointed in the movie because it was like, oh no, she's gonna like hallucinate even more, and she's not gonna really beat this thing, so she's just gonna like die. Okay, that's cool. But then it picks up once he's finally like, we can do it, we can kill it. You're like, yeah, awesome. And then it just goes downhill from there. Um, so I don't think it takes away from the movie, but I think that's why we're here, criminal, investigators that we are.
And like you said, Eddie, like this movie is different than this movie shows what the first movie didn't really show. Like the first movie she had like a lot of like blank time that she didn't know what would happen. Like the cat, for example, or like her seeing the guy or like attacking the guy in the hospital, right? Like I feel like there was just scenes where there was like time that was like, oh, what happened with that? Or like in like weird stuff with that. So I feel like this just shows those times. And sure, would we like to know exactly when it like what is real and what is not? That would be nice, maybe. Or like, is there hints in this movie if we do a rewatch? But I don't know if it takes away my enjoyment of this movie. Like, I still had a great time with it, personally.
Okay. No, that's fair. I think like as Charlie mentioned, because we're just a little bit more analytical. Um, I guess I would like to it for to have like that. But yeah, I think on the same page. I don't think it takes away from the movie and the spectacle of what it was. Um, I think I think I will rewatch this movie again, um, with that kind of lens on. Um, and I mean maybe this was the intention of the movie. I'm not sure. Um, but if it wasn't, then I'd be like, oh, okay, well, it wasn't. But because of the twists and turns, I'm just focused on that. It just feels like I might have missed something or like something else that might have transpired. Um, but again, it's not going to change my outlook on this movie. But I guess it'll be like a bonus if that was the intention or that there's something else there. Uh, yeah. What did you all think about the kills and like the deaths in this movie? I know we kind of touched lightly on it. There was just the two, right, that actually happened, but there were obviously
Uh,
more
yeah,
there.
there was more. I mean, just the beginning of the movie, there was three with the guy from the first movie. He
Yeah,
shot
but I didn't
those machine
understand what he
guys.
was trying to do in the first with the first one in the first
I
opening scene.
assume
What do you mean in the
we
first
wanted to
one?
pass the smile curse onto the guy, those guys, because they're like they suck and they were like criminals, right? That was his
Yeah.
goal. But he ended up killing the other guy.
I thought he was just gonna end it himself, and that way it would end the line.
Well, he didn't want to die.
He was going like that. There was never not dying.
Yeah.
Mm.
That dying was not.
No,
I think he knew
he
that
just did
not
he
dying
just
was.
didn't want to die.
Oh, okay.
So the way
Seems
you
kind of.
circumvent that, the way you like not die is to have someone else watch a gruesome murder that you do to pass it on.
But you still die.
No,
No,
you don't die.
they explained in the first movie, like the
Yeah, the
guy who's
first
in
one. Remember that
prison,
guy in
he
prison?
passed it
Oh,
on.
right, right. Someone has
Yeah,
to see a
yeah.
gruesome murder
Yeah.
and you pass it on. So he knew that. Okay, so he knew that's what he was trying to do. So if the car never hit him, he would have been fine.
I think so.
Also, a week, bro. You knew this.
I mean,
It takes
he did
time.
kind of
You gotta find I don't think drug dealers are like in the white
He's a
pages.
cop. I think he would know where the bad people hang out. You know what? This the They could have done a lot better job of setting up the beginning of this movie because
you know
he
what I
already
was gonna
knows it's
say?
getting closer, right? Because as soon as he gets out the car, there's like a little child burning, right?
Hmm.
And I was like, what the hell is that? Obviously, he could only see that. Nobody else sees what's going on. Does that mean it's getting closer? Does that mean he's battling with this thing and he's winning? You know what I'm saying?
I think
I
it's just
was
to
just like,
remind the audience that he has it.
oh, we
Yeah.
know he has it. It says 6 days later.
Well,
Yeah.
I just
But
want to
like
point
the
out the
first movie
first
came out
movie,
like
he
2021.
literally ruins her plan by going to her house. Like if he
Yeah,
didn't
no,
go to
that's
her
on him.
house, yeah,
That's
like
on him.
I don't know, like I feel like
No,
taking
but then
7 days
again,
to think this over, like that's just a him thing,
but
you
that's the
know?
thing. In the first one, we clearly show it clearly shows that the demon can imitate, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like I texted you, like, no, I didn't. It's like, yeah, you told me to come over.
Hmm.
Like, no, I didn't. And it like the whole manipulation thing, which again, I don't know. But I'm just saying, you had 7 days, you knew what was up, and you knew you had to pass it on. You have to wait this fucking 7 days. Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come
I think
on.
you also like struggle with yourself. Like I don't think anyone wants to commit murder to not,
To not die? I don't know.
I mean it's
I
just
think he
like
would
I don't think
you have to
anyone
find
It's
the
wants to
right
like
here. You
you.
have
I don't
to
think
It's
find the
anyone
right
you
would
or
come to
person.
the
somebody.
conclusion of like I gotta murder somebody
It's you
easily,
or
you know.
somebody. It's you or somebody. I'm just saying. I mean, you were not put in this position, but hypothetically in this universe, if we had to put it, I'd be like, all right,
Yeah.
you know, I'm
I'm just
pretty sure I
yeah.
could find
Well,
somebody to,
Louis
to
got a
be
movie, so
like,
he's gonna murder someone, right? But you know what?
hey,
He's a
Charlie,
cop.
what? You owe me $5. Da, just kill somebody in front of you. Also, what was his plan? Look at this. I'm a stab. You're in a drug house. You are in a trap house. Do you think they don't have guns or other things that are going on?
Yeah. He disarmed the first guy. I don't know why he didn't disarm the second guy.
He was sitting on the couch. I think he didn't really disarm him. He murdered him with a knife, right?
No, he
Yeah,
like took remember he like went up to the guy who was like go- on a Dunkin' Donuts run.
that's
But
funny.
yeah. And he was like he patted him down to take away his gun. And he didn't do that with the second guy. Also, how do you miss I don't know. How do you miss the other guy, like Lucas or Lewis, if he's just standing there in the corner? Did you think it
Oh,
was only
like
two
yeah,
people in that? Yeah.
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, I like how it starts out. I like that he got split in half. And were you guys on the lookout for? So in the beginning of the movie, he gets split in half by the truck, right? And then the truck swerves, so then like there's this like bloody print on the street that creates a smile. Um, were you guys on the lookout for other smiles in the movie?
I was not.
Yeah.
Okay,
Did you
'cause
see
I
any?
was. Um, not like as obvious as the street one. It was more like things and objects that created a smile, other than
Hmm.
like an obvious um other than like something as obvious as the beginning of the movie.
But I guess overall, it was ups and downs. I didn't really think there was a lull in the movie. Um, even through the more quiet parts. We do see Sky Riley, Naomi's character, grow. I think her what do you guys think about her arch, her character arc? Do you think she was did you feel bad for her? Not because she was possessed, but because like eh, of who she was? Like the more we got to know her, the less I sympathize with her. I don't know if you all felt that way.
Well, yeah, like they show like we keep hearing about this accident she has in the movie, like where her boyfriend gets murdered and she like gets like really injured, and like throughout the movie it's like, oh, you're recovering from this, and then we're so glad to have you back and you're not on drugs anymore, kind of thing. And like we know this is like the thing, and we see a flashback, like parts of it, and then the end of the flashback we see that she's the one who caused the accident and killed her boyfriend, kind of thing. So definitely I feel like, yeah, like you said, like we don't really, do we sympathize with her because of this? Or I don't know, like plus like her other actions were maybe not great, like her um killing her mom, kind of thing, not killing her mom, whatever. Like is that like her inner, what she wants, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Is a smile showing her what she, like her true intentions, like her, how she really feels, maybe.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel super like I don't want to say like oh she deserved it or anything, but it didn't make me feel like she was an entirely good person.
Hmm.
Um, so it was just like, okay, well, if you haven't learned anything, like I felt it at the beginning where she was like, "Oh, I'm calling you," even though the last text message you sent her was like, "Eat shit," and then you're literally just trying to text your friend again saying like, Can you come over?
Hey,
I'm sorry.
nice to see you. Haven't
Yeah,
heard
it
from
was
you in a
like,
while. Eat shit, you're toxic.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like she's just using those people. Like, oh, it's like I didn't say sorry all this time, but now I'm saying because I need you. It's not really I'm not really
then
sorry, but
again,
I
her
need
mom
you,
feels like a
right?
shitty person, but then again,
Yeah.
her mom wasn't actually being a shitty person because all that sequence wasn't her mom.
I feel like some of it
I feel
was.
like
Was
yeah, I feel
it?
like that's a portrayal
Yeah.
like what her mom's actually like, right?
Because
I mean, her mom is her manager, first of all. Like I feel like there's already something there to right?
I don't know, man. I feel like before the best friend comes over, the mom seems fairly reasonable, and only after the friend sleeps over that her mom becomes a little bit more demanding, and like it's playing on the you can't let anybody down. You can't like you need to do these things. Like even the appearance of the benefit is fake, and then the benefit itself is a fake within a fake, but is real. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's just so much. Like this feel we okay. Just sort of context. We're playing this game right now. All three of us. What is it called? From Dusk Till Dawn. It's like one of those books where you get to choose like the outcome. I feel like this has multiple. Like we have to like read the outcome and then move backwards to be like, wait, well, this only got started because of this, and this only got started because of this, and this is all part of a greater mind fuck within itself. That's like there's like three major mind fucks here, and then within each major mind fuck there are additional small little mind fucks that like progress the story. Because now I'm thinking about it, I don't think the mom was ever the mom.
What?
I gotta rewatch this movie.
Well, it's like it goes back to we don't really know how
when
much
the
of this movie was real or to her or fake, you know? Like was it just her friend for a lot of it or was I don't know, like it's hard to say what exactly was real or not for this.
That's
I
true.
got man, man,
I
man.
did find it hella convenient that her friend just happened to show up with coffee at the hospital.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh yeah, yours have blood on you. Should we just go? Yeah, let's read.
It's real life inconvenient.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Speaking of the banquet and the fundraiser, my grandma took that hit like a champ.
I don't know if she's okay. She fell off that stage.
Yeah. Did anybody else chuckle when that happened? It's like,
Oh, of
oh
course.
no.
I did. I was like,
Yeah,
this
that was
girl
great.
got American. What is it? The
Yeah.
body slam
Yeah.
into the dang
I
table.
forgot the last thing I wanted to Google when watching
Got
this
angle
movie.
slammed.
Yeah.
Was Smile
But also,
2,
also,
was it sponsored by Voss?
yeah, that was. It had the glass ones too. It
There's
wasn't even the
so
plastic
much.
ones.
That's what I didn't believe is the glass falling. Because I was like, Voss hasn't used like glass containers in like
I think they still do, don't
since
they?
like
I
2014.
think they still do. I definitely
Yeah.
had one
I thought
during
they
South
changed
by.
over to plastic like a long time ago. Just
Well, I think they have both
No, I think they have both.
then.
Yeah, I think
Because I
like
definitely
if you could
had them
afford
like
the
last
glass,
couple of months ago.
they allow you to wear glass or whatever. Like the richer people could afford the glass. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the glass still exists somewhere. Um, because they're all glass. She clearly is drinking out of glass ones.
Yeah.
Um, you could hear it as she puts it on the table, on the granite table. But honestly, I was like, maybe I should start doing this too. You know, when you feel the urge of like doing something that's probably not the best for you, just chug a whole 20 ounce of water. See how that feels afterwards. Yeah,
I mean, probably
yeah.
better in the long run, right?
I
Water's
mean,
good for you.
I guess, yeah. Fuck it. whatever works. Um, yeah, so the whole twist, but coming to the end of the movie, um, because the demon is possessed and she tries, there's a part of the movie where she tries, she communicates with somebody who's texting her anonymously, which again, I don't know if that's actually happening or not. Or maybe it did, maybe it did. Someone's communicated
I
like
wonder
letting her
if
know.
like the first meetup was real, but everything else wasn't real.
I feel like the text was real, but the meetup
Yeah.
wasn't maybe yeah, you're right. The meetup was real, but then everything else obviously wasn't.
Hmm.
So a nurse is helping her trying to figure stuff out, and like they kind of go over like the whole thing in a fairly quick and quick way, which I appreciated. Um, so like he tries to explain to her like this is what you have to do and this is how we figure it out. Um, to kind of like get out of the situation. But by the end of the movie, that whole sequence turns out to be false. So she tries to do it. She finally like convinces herself, yes, I'll go along with your plan. But of course, we find out that it's all in her head. Like that whole sequence of her trying to do that is all in her head. And it ends with her coming back to reality and her coming out into the beginning of the show. Um, and she's obviously ready. Her everything that's transpired up to this point didn't happen, or maybe some of it happened. We don't know. We just kind of get a glimpse of like everything that's happening, and she's in shock. She doesn't know what's going on. But by then, it's already too late, right? The demon is taking
Hmm.
its shape and its form, and it's time for the grand, you know, death in front of an audience. So the demon usually does need some one witness to be able to move past on, but in this scenario, it is obviously thousands and thousands of people um, who is witnessing this gruesome death. Um, so again, that comes full circle to us. I guess what we're trying to figure out: does this demon now? Does everybody who witnessed this have 7 days from now? Does the entity multiply? Um,
7 days.
yeah. Like what goes on here? But for me, I kind of like again. There are other movies who have like this is where the ending was. Where the ending was, the ending twist was like if we spread it to everybody, it'll die, or we don't know what to do, and it just kind of ends there. I wasn't a big fan of that. Um, I don't know. It sounds like you all were more, uh, agreeing with that ending. I just like I don't know because I'm assuming the movie is gonna do well. The first one did okay. This one isn't bad. It's actually pretty good.
It did better than
So
the first movie
okay,
Yeah, I
then
think it
so
about
far.
broke even in the US and it's like 40
great.
million worldwide, something like that.
And then definitely,
On
probably
a
greenlit another
Yeah,
one.
but that was on like a 20, it's on like a $25 million
28.
budget. $28 million budget.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So obviously,
So,
so obviously, what comes next after this? If you spread it out to this many people, what's going on? The story has to continue, but I just don't see how. So if there is a sequel, it would maybe have to be a prequel. Maybe we get to see because up to this point we know of what 8 deaths, right? The first one says they could trace it back to 7 deaths.
yeah, like 8 or 9 people.
Yeah, 8 or 9 people. But isn't there like don't they do history? Like isn't the first one does history? Like there's always been something like this or something? No? Am I getting that
I don't
confused?
remember.
At least they know of 7 or 8 people. So
Yeah.
technically this movie could be 7 or 8 series longs where we see you know, the stories of these individuals or break it down some way. So if there is another one, I would probably think of that, but I just don't know how a continuation with that kind of ending, where the story's supposed to go. And I think they might have played their cards a little too early, um, with the whole like you're a pop star, so you have a lot of people. Like just because the trailers and everything were that, I was like, oh, she's a pop star, she's well known. Didn't even have to be a pop star. It could have been like an influencer or something The fact that she has thousands of followers and millions of followers, inevitably for me was like that has to be played into it somehow, and it was. Um, but I don't know where the story would go from there. I don't know. What about you guys? Do you think this adds to the story? Do you think it doesn't?
I mean, it's a way to change up the story instead of it just being another person going through this a third time, you know? Like we've already seen two different versions of this. So like a mass outbreak of the smile curse. Like I feel like that's interesting to me at least. Like seeing
Mm-hmm.
like what is like a pandemic of smile curse look like? Like what does the world look like after that happens, you know? I'm curious to see
Mm-hmm.
what they do with that.
Yeah, technically we've seen three because we saw the cop guy go through it. I
Yeah.
mean, we were there for the end, but
Well, I meant just
um,
like movie wise, like we
oh,
saw.
yeah, yeah,
Like, do we need
like,
to see like a similar thing again?
yeah. In terms of like a sequel or whatever, having a third person go through the same thing, um, I don't think would be very interesting. Um, maybe there's like a if you see someone smiling, shoot them, like or like kind of like law that comes into place in the new world of this like smile demon. Or maybe as you were talking about it, if 60,000 people have it or 30,000 whatever, um now is the demon split 60,000 times, right? So it's not like in one person it's super powerful, but in 60,000 people it's only like slightly powerful. So then we follow like a group of like high schoolers or college friends that only have 1/60th of the demon, but then they all realize that they're going through the same thing and try to like extinguish it or some shit like that. And the only reason it doesn't like capture all of them at the same time is because it's like weakened because you know, um, it's spread across a lot of people. Or something like that. That's the
And
only
then it turns into flatliners where they all kill themselves and like bring themselves back.
yeah. That's the only like kind of other direction I was thinking about it, where one demon, 60,000 people, it splits itself up. So it's not able to dig as deep as it would if it was one person. Uh, yeah, that or like, you know, um, the world is it's post-apocalyptic world where if you see someone smiling, they get shot immediately by like, and no one's able to smile. It's a world without smiles. Um, so I don't know where it goes from there. A prequel would be cool too. Maybe like similar to Prey or Predator. It's like a prequel way back when, not just like, oh, the person before, the first movie. It's more like a person back in the back in the days where people believed in witches and demons and spirits and stuff like that.
Ooh, yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah. So,
That takes out like the modern aspect of the current films.
yeah. Yeah, so what you're seeing is real and people are actually would try to exercise this demon, but it wouldn't necessarily work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, these are someone hiring me.
Yeah, no, that I mean, I don't think any of us really expected to, I guess, have this in depth of a review for a movie that, again, when the first one came out, I remember Charlie, you were like, I don't want to watch Smile. I was like, okay, all right, I'll go watch Smile. It seems like a pretty good film. Uh, but like it's obviously evolved into something else, and kudos to everybody involved. I mean, like I said, the story in itself is evolved, and it didn't it didn't stray away from what it was from the first one, but it was different enough where it was like it's intriguing, and we're all hooked, and look at us for doing an in-depth review, and a lively conversation at that. But is there anything else that you all wanted to cover or bring up or anything about the film?
Do you guys think you'd be able to beat the demon?
Do I know, or am I like one of those people who get it and I have to like figure stuff out?
You have to
I
figure it
mean,
out.
you have to figure it
No,
out.
I'm
Everyone has
I'm
to
dead.
figure it out.
No, I just meant like I know about it now, so if I were to get it now, I know what to do, as opposed to like just getting it and then I don't know what to do. Like I have to like do an investigative thing on my own. If I have to investigate my own, I'm dead. I'm going out in the most spectacular way. I'll tell you that. I will go out my way.
I don't think that's how it works.
I'm just saying, if if there is ever a computer glitch in my reality, that's it. I'm not letting it get to two. This thing likes to play with you, but the moment I've experienced a day or an event and then immediately wake up or like be like, "Oh, that didn't happen." I'm like, "Nope. I either got CTE or something's going on, but it's over, man. It's over." Like my reality can't be changed that way because there would be something extremely wrong immediately. I'd be like, "Nope.
I think I would
Mm-mm.
also go out
I
on
am
the
fucked. I am fucked."
I think I would also go out in the blaze of glory. Um, because most people are scared. I feel like most people are scared. I'd be scared too. But I would throw hands. I would throw hands.
Versus
You know,
yourself?
If you
Who are
want to
you
throw
throwing
hands, I'll
hands
throw
with?
hands.
against anything that any hallucination that pops up. You want to do this? Let's do this. Okay.
But they're not real. They're not like physical. You're just fighting
That
yourself then.
that too. I would do that too. No, I realized it as it came out of my mouth that she wasn't actually. Did she actually hit herself against the piano? Like nobody hit her against the piano. She just hit herself against the
Yeah,
piano.
she did
Oh
it.
Jesus.
She pulled her own
Oh,
hair out.
I would lose.
No,
I feel
but
like
that's not
I
true
would.
either. That didn't happen. It happened within a happening.
That's
She got
yeah.
inception.
Because she woke up in the hospital and she's like, "What's going on?" She's like, "You fell on the blah blah blah," and then she stabs her mom and she's like, "Oh my god!" And then she runs away. And then when she runs away, the ghost is like, "All of this has been a lie." And then her mom is fine and she's not. She doesn't have a bruised eye. Like all of that was fake. You know what I mean? Like, but she felt the pain. I guess I don't know because she felt the pain of her cutting her foot and like taking out the glass. Like all of this, all of that just goes to show how much of a possession this demon has because she could feel pain. She could feel like all these things
True.
going on, but there was a
Yeah.
level of autonomy that she had because she was free to roam that reality that was created for her. She thought of a plan how to escape. She went for the gun. She didn't shoot anybody, but she knew how to like dive and reacts and you know what I'm saying? Like there are levels. There are levels to like how fucked up this whole scenario, these scenarios are. That I just again, I have to go back and watch it because I wanna say that there's the answer is there right in front of me, and I just like missed it. I'm definitely gonna watch this movie again. Anything else? All right. So with that, we'll get into our ratings, whether or not you'd go see this in movie theater, and do you want to see sequels, and what does that look like, if any? Charlie?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this. I really like this movie a lot, so I'm gonna give this. It's gonna be up there. I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this four gym plates out of five. And yeah, everyone should go watch this movie in theater, especially if you like the first one. I feel like everyone who um who was originally interested already went to go see it. And I feel like everyone who heard about they heard about it that it was good, went to go see it as well. But if you haven't, go and run, don't walk. And in terms of sequel or prequel, yeah, I'll take another one. I know we kind of touched upon it earlier in this discussion, but yeah, I'll take uh I'll take it. What about you, Eddie?
Same. I'd give this. It's up there. I'd give this 4 Voss Waters out of 5. Um, glass Voss Waters out of 5. Yeah, the movie kept me engaged, and every other, like, what's going on and what's next, and towards the middle of the film, I'm like, all right, this is getting a little Inception-y. Cool, cool. And that's where I had my gripe, where I was like, oh, they could have really explored this more. And then lo and behold, I'm like, they had explored it more. So all of it was great. Again, even with my taking back at the actual absolute end, was still a really good, enjoyable film. Definitely go watch it in movie theaters, if you can. Um, seems like it's doing very well. And yeah, sequels, again, I don't know where they're going with this, but maybe like some kind of prequel thing. We still don't actually know like the origin of the demon, or like, other than the fact that it needs to continue. Like, I don't know if it feeds on, again, the minds of people, or what the actual motive here is. So maybe it's something where we get a little bit more insight into that, or again, it could be just continuing the story. There's so much they could do with, the inner minds of individuals, and see where it goes. So hopefully there is a sequel, and we'll see how that looks. But yeah, definitely a good film. Chris, what about you?
I would give this 3.5 creepy fans out of 5. And yeah, this one was a lot of fun. Like even the jump scares, I feel like jump scares can be cheap at times, but these were good. Like the people I went with, they were pretty scared about this movie. Like I don't know if I was scared per se, but definitely on the edge of my seat, like just like trying to figure out what was going on and stuff. And I feel like they used like the first movie was definitely a different feel to it. Like it was still the same possession or curse, whatever disease thing, but this film tackled it differently. So definitely curious to see where they take the series, since they've shown they can handle different ideas with it. So if it's like a mass outbreak smile, or like a period piece smile, which is like in the past, trying to like figure out what's going on there. But I will say I'm super curious to see what It Follows 2 does. Like how does It Follows 2 gonna like up the ante like this one did, you know? Just because that movie is very similar to this one in how it like the demon and stuff. So
You know what?
curious.
Yeah, you know what would be another idea for a sequel?
Mhm.
Um, what was that guy's name? Like Morty or Morgan or
Morris.
Morris? What if he's actually real? Um, he's actually real, and then he's trying to like the next movie is about him hunting down maybe the next person that's gonna be killed. I don't know how it's gonna work since it was like a you know uh stadium full of people, but maybe he's like hunting down the last, or maybe he's like calling everybody that was at the concert, like you're gonna die, and nobody believes him. Number one, or number two, everybody's already dead, and he's hunting out like and then somebody's finding like, yeah, I've been seeing things, come help me, and then it's just about them like trying to like kill this demon or whatever.
He's gonna need a bigger Pizza
That's funny. I did
Hut.
find that funny that they used the Pizza Hut. That's funny.
Yeah.
I want
I
a
want to
Pizza
see
Hut
if I could
after
actually
that.
lease out a pizza, like an old abandoned Pizza Hut.
They got to bring back the buffet.
True. True.
Awesome. Well, with that, are there any scenarios we didn't cover? or any, how would you defeat the demon if it was in you? Or would you be able to distinct the truth from hallucinations? Feel free to email us at straight2pld@gmail.com. You can also follow us at straight to PLD on X, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Twitch. And that concludes this week's episode of Straight to PLD.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Eddie. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.